finally, I've always wanted to do one of those day in the life as a software engineer at X company, but let's actually do the quarantine version of that. What's up, Day One listeners? Welcome back to the show. And I just want to first say, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And if you're listening to the podcast, leave a review because we have a $25 Amazon gift card. Our goal for this channel is get to 1,000 subscribers as fast as possible. And what I want to do is reward the people who've been with us since day one. So that's all you got to do. Just do those things and you already entered for a chance to win that $25 gift card. So, like I said earlier, I've always wanted to make one of those a day in the life of a software engineer videos because they're so popular and so many people have done them. But since the office has been closed, I think since March of last year, I just thought it would be really cool to do like the quarantine edition of like what life as a software engineer is like working from home. And I know a few people have done those, but I just kind of want to give my take on it because you know what it is. I like to keep it a little bit more real than maybe some of these other content creators out there. So let me just first start off by saying I was already planning on asking my manager if I could be a hybrid employee. And it was really interesting because I remember drafting up the email and I was like, I'll put it in draft. The next day, boom, everybody gets an email. Hey, all you guys working from home, this coronavirus thing is a big deal. And I was probably at my organization about 2.5 years at this point, and I really do miss the office. I mean, I really thought the outbreak would slow down. I thought things would start getting better within a few months, but no. Obviously, I was wrong like many other people. COVID has definitely changed our lives. Some companies even allow their companies to work from home forever. You know, we're seeing some of those companies, Twitter, Shopify. I even know some companies are struggling with it because it's like they've invested so much in real estate. So that's another episode. As companies are starting to adjust to the new normal, you know, I just wanted to talk about like how it affected my day-to-day as a software engineer. So what I will say, I'm an early riser, so I don't mind waking up early, but what I do like is waking up early and having more time to myself. See, pre-COVID, you know, I would wake up trying to think, what do I need to wear? Am I going to be in traffic? All those types of things would go in your mind. Now, I was just waking up and the morning was mine. If I wanted to make a full breakfast for me and my wife, I could totally do so. If I wanted to read a book in absolute silence, I could totally do so. So if anything, I really enjoy getting that time back. And I think that was one of the big changes for me was instead of thinking about what I was going to wear, commuting to work, my mornings really were, can I walk my dog? Can I work out? Can I watch the news? Can I work on people in tech? It was just more flexibility. And I felt like I had a little bit more control over my day. Let's do this. Let's create a timeline. So let's say my day started at 6 a.m. I'm getting out of bed, and the first thing I'm doing from say 6 to 7, and I'm walking my dog. Try and get as many steps in, and I usually would average anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000, just depending on if I was a fast walker that day or not. Now, at 8 o'clock, I'm usually either finishing breakfast, wrapping up, you know, maybe a book or a chapter that I'm reading, and I try to get to my desk around 8:30 because my first meeting was at 9. Now, if you're newer in software development, what I highly recommend, if you can wake up early before your first meeting, before you check your email, before you check your messages, go on sites like HackerRank, LeetCode, GitHub, and just work on programming challenges. It's amazing if you just do that 3-4 times a week over the first year or two of your career, you won't ever feel nervous going in an interview. And really, it's probably the best time to kind of like put you in a coding mindset. It's early in the morning, so that's what I recommend. I tried it, I did it for a little bit. I've definitely fallen off the bandwagon, but it's one piece of advice I would give you if you are trying to figure out what to do with your morning before your first meeting. So at 9 o'clock, I would have my stand-ups. Stand-ups average 15 minutes, sometimes it go over, usually anywhere from 9 to 9:30. If it's past 9:30, then it's a long stand-up and it's really a one-off. But let's say around 9:30, it's when I get back to my desk. I'll open up my email, my calendar, my sprint board. For those of you who aren't aware, the sprint board pretty much contains all the tasks that the developers are currently working on, and it's how project managers help track the status of a project. So for me, once I would check my email, my calendar, I would just get to work. Usually that first 2 hours from like 9 to 11, I used to call it the golden hours because people are focused. They understand what they need to focus on for that day. And for some reason, I'm just more productive and I have easier time focusing on something earlier in the morning than I do later throughout the afternoon. For me, I will always use a Pomodoro timer. Now, my timing was a little different. People do 25-5. I was actually like a 30-10, and that's just my personal preference. But like I said, it really helped me like sit down and say like, these are the tasks I need to knock out if I want to say today was a successful day. Skipping ahead, 11:30 a.m. By this time, my team's already met up. We've all sat down, we've all pair programmed, we've talked about what we need to do. We've talked about the work before, what we plan on working on, anything that's blocking us. And also, we will probably be talking about what's for lunch. Now, if you notice, I said we, and I'm talking specifically about me and my wife. Pre-COVID, with me and my coworkers, but around 11:30, I'm texting my wife, what would you like for lunch? Get in the kitchen, and this is something I really enjoy about Quarantine Edition as a software developer, is I had more opportunities to be healthy. I also had more opportunities to be bad and lazy. And it's unfortunate, COVID weight is a thing. I think they've done some studies that have shown a lot of people have gained a lot of weight over the last year simply because they have just reduced their daily activity. Now, for me, 11:30 to 12 to about 1 o'clock is when I would say it's like the official lunch hour. Some people go longer, but let's just say for time's sake, 11:30 to 1 p.m. is lunch hour. So now we're in the 1 to 5 block. And pre-COVID, this is usually a mix of me getting the most productivity out of my day, sitting down, actually writing code, actually being a productive employee, mentoring, coaching, working with business partners, stakeholders, conversations with managers, everything like that. Sometimes it was a combination of meetings in the office, but I will say once we went remote, that 1 to 5 block became this peace, quiet, silence, real productivity time for me. And what I liked about it is I kind of noticed, depending on the team and who you work with, a lot of people now are worldwide. So unlike before, I was on the same time zone with everybody. Now I'm working with people in different time zones, and because we're in different time zones, my 3 o'clock is their 5 o'clock, or maybe my 3 o'clock is their 6 o'clock, whatever the case is, whether they're Midwest or in the East Coast. And I just started noticing like Slack and email would just get really, really quiet towards the afternoon. And I really enjoyed that. However, the one thing I will say of the con is if you did have to have a meeting, it kind of like breaks up your day a little bit. But I mean, I will say like more meetings were getting put on the calendar in the afternoon. I noticed they were longer. I feel like some organizations have found ways to kind of limit, because Zoom fatigue is a thing, right? Just being in front of a computer all day, being in meetings after meetings after meetings, you really just need time to work as a developer. And I think most developers, their personality will say like, hey, if you put me in too many meetings, I'm going to be completely drained and I won't be able to do any work. So that 1 to 5 block, once we went in the quarantine version of the world, I really felt like that was when I was most productive, because I actually be able to sit down and just like knock something out. And 4 hours to me is like good enough where you can probably get like a good piece of work done that you can actually like say, this is what I got done for today, and I can call it. Now, the one thing I think you should be doing if you're not doing already is make sure you end the day. And I can't tell you, I work with so many smart people who get so flustered and upset over how things are at their job. You know, why do we use Skype? Why do we do this? We're not agile. Why do we use this language? It's always just complaint after complaint after complaint. That is totally fine. That's going to be anywhere you work, whether you work at Facebook, whether you work at a startup, there's going to be things that are going to be frustrating to you. And what I noticed with remote work is it seems like some people, because they can spend more time working, because you can start the day earlier, no one is necessarily distracting you, you don't have teammates asking you to go out, you don't have managers talking to you, at least not like in person, and it's very hard to shut down. So I have one piece of advice. When you are done for the day, whether it's 5 o'clock or whatever it is for you, just close your computer, and if you still feel like there's something you need to be doing, work on personal stuff. It's amazing how so many people would get so caught up in doing something for an organization or a company, and like the company might not want to pursue your idea. They might not like what you're trying to push. I've seen it happen far too often, and people just get really frustrated and upset and slowly become disgruntled. What my advice is, shut down, because the nice thing about being remote is you can use this time to upskill. Get certified, learn GCP, learn AWS, learn a new programming language, write a blog, build an app. Like there's so much you can do. Hopefully are using this new post era of how we work now and taking advantage of it, because if you didn't learn a new skill in 2020, was it really that you didn't have the time, or you just didn't make the time? And with remote work, you can control your day. I gave you guys a typical day in the life of an engineer post-pandemic. But I have plenty of days where I'm like, you know what? Waking up early, starting work at 7, not going to stop until 7 p.m. Just simply because I want to be super productive. And then that allowed me to kind of have like a really relaxing week, because I was able to just go as long as I needed to without many distractions. However, don't do that to the point where you're becoming frustrated and burnt out. So shut down your computer. If your brain is still wired to keep going, start putting that time and energy into something that's meaningful to you. And I think that will help you long term, because you're not only start building something for yourself that you're proud of, but it'll just allow you to kind of say, work is work, and this is my personal life. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like we always say, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on a podcast, which we're about to dive into the podcast exclusive. So make sure to check that out, because I'm going to talk about what COVID can do for remote work in 2022. But it's only on the podcast, so you guys know where to go if you want to check that out. But that's all I got for you here. I'm out. Peace.